Check one, two, check one, two.
Mic check.
Help me.
All right, we're all good. I hear you both.
Oh,
Perfecto.
All right. Now we can get right into it. We are live for the next episode of the XRS Wheel to Wheel podcast. I'm your host, Fan2403, joined alongside the producer of the show and the creator of the Wheel to Wheel podcast, AKDJ2006. AK, today we are joined by a guest, another guest in XRS who kind of pops in and out because of his availability and his schedule. And, well, we know his availability because we just need to look at the Xfinity Series schedule. We are joined by Jenkum. He's a driver that we have mentioned a lot of times throughout our broadcast when he's here. And Jenkum, thank you tonight for joining us.
yeah, thanks for having me.
So let's hop right in, and we're going to talk XRS mainly here. So the first thing, it's very simple. Just how did you get into XRS? I know you originally joined when we were under a different league name, when we were PPRL, right? That's when you first were in?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so just talk us through how, what got you into the league.
I can't remember specifically what it was, but I know you know this. But coming from the Red Solo League, I mean, we had me, you, Exiv, Cart. Pretty much had all of us over there. I stopped league racing for a little bit and saw you guys were over here. So I just kind of followed suit, trying to find a place to race, because there wasn't really many good organized leagues at the time, and this place just seemed to be pretty decent.
Yeah, we've had a couple people like you mentioned, Cart, Exiv when they were both on here, Red Solo. Red Solo is a very old league. I think they're still running. I think they're still running, but they only have like half a dozen people now, or something like that still do it. But very old league, but it did have a lot of people who are now involved in XRS. So I don't know. Maybe it wasn't as bad as people think it was.
It was pretty bad.
It still is, but yeah.
Oh, sure.
But either
It
way,
was pretty fun at the time, though, till it wasn't fun.
yeah.
Till there's some
So
obvious
kind
cheating, but
kind of like with what for a different matter here, with you and Exiv, you both have kind of popped in and out of XRS in general, and so you guys have, whenever you have guys have popped in and out, you've seen a lot of changes happen with the league. So what was your initial reaction when we had done the name change, when we had changed from PPRL to XRS, and the direction that the league was going in?
I think personally the name change was a good thing. I mean, it was kind of a symbol for, I wouldn't say really a changing of the reins, because, I mean, there were different owners, like CR and Cart with the PPRL name and multiple different moderators. But it kind of just separated, I'd say, the PPRL side to the XRS side of what it is now compared to what it was. I feel like it's a good thing for it. No disrespect to Adam whenever he had it. Overall, I think it was a pretty good thing.
Yeah, I would say that was the ultimate goal of what we really wanted in the name change. It was like, yes, we're PPRL, but we're different now. Like, we're different. And a lot of people uh, just knew and connected that name to Adam and what he had. And some people, they liked and admired Adam, and other people, not so much. And that was really a turning point of trying to separate ourselves. So obviously the name change helped in a lot of that way. And more recently, I feel like I've seen you pop in more often than not. The last race you did, for XRS, what were you? Have you been here for any of?
I think it was a finale for Homestead.
Yeah, yeah. I
I think
think
I
that.
finished third, something like that.
Yeah, you popped in. I know for that schedule. Well, that was a long season. That was 23 races. in that schedule. So you had plenty of opportunities to pop in and out. I believe you made a handful of starts, right? You probably made around like 3, 4 starts at least.
Something like that. Maybe a little bit more. I know I definitely did a few during the off season. Not as many as I hoped to, 'cause a lot of things come up, but I try to
Yeah,
do as many as
yeah,
I can.
yeah, and that's the way things are sometimes. Like, while this league is something that a lot of people admire and a lot of people enjoy, it's just different availability, different times. This is ultimately still just something that we do Saturday night on a video game, and it
Yeah.
doesn't have the utmost priority, and it doesn't need to be. And that's the point that we're kind of at, to where some people do take XRS as a priority, because there are other leagues out there still on Forza, and I think that's why Forza 7 is still kind of relevant today. It's because of the racing league community. And some people, they now take priority in that, and others don't. You you just have been very busy, like we said, for Xfinity Series, and that's your real life work. We'll talk about that later. But for now, other changes that we've had. You at one point were able to drive full time in XRS, or at least as much as you could. Maybe you didn't start every race in an entire season, but you started majority of the races in a season. And compared to when you pop in and out, has the competition level changed a lot? Or do you feel like that's more you on how you've been, like you're not consistent because you can't be on the game consistently?
I feel like it's honestly a mixture of both, but I feel like more than anything, I feel like people have just gotten a lot better. Like I
Mm-hmm.
feel whenever I come back on here, road courses I can pick up, I'm pretty decent at coming back and doing pretty well with those, but everyone else has just gotten so much better. Like not knocking on Cart or anything, but whenever we'd race road courses or ovals, I was always ahead of him.
Yeah.
And now we're going to road courses, and he's right next to me. I'm like, what in the world is going on here? And you have so many more people now that are just so much better than I remember, and it just catches me off guard. I'm like, damn, am I really this bad, or are they just this good? Uh, tell you, like, whenever I came back for Homestead, I definitely was not as good there because uh, consistency was just terrible. And I never
Mm-hmm.
ran that package before, but I mean, overall, Homestead really doesn't change that much. You just let off, dime in the corner, and get back on it. I mean, kind of basic in a sense, but drives a little bit different. But overall, it's the same concept. I wasn't as good there as I would have hoped. I mean, that's kind of sucky to say whenever I'm running third, but used to being up a little bit higher than that.
Yeah, I mean, for a while, I feel like people pretty much put you at the top of the list in terms of drivers, greatest drivers who have raced with us who don't have a win. Because it did take you a long time to get that win. It took you quite a bit, and part of that was due to you hopping in and out. But either way, when you came in, you were pretty dominant in a lot of races, and your luck just ran out with like 5 to go in most of them.
Oh my gosh, that happened to me all the time, especially in the era of the low power. I
Yeah.
know me and you have different views of that. I've always had a strong opinion on it, but man, I never found that stuff really fun. I like the competitiveness of it, but the driver skill of that low power stuff we used to do was just not there. And I'd always end up getting wrecked by someone trying to make it three wide or making some moves that just don't make any sense. And I was victim of that for a long time.
Hmm.
So it took me, I don't know, that whole 2020 stretch, I didn't win anything, even though it was pretty decent almost everywhere. Then the road courses, like I remember going to Magello specifically, uh, I was pretty good there. I ran second the whole race, but whenever we had rain, he just blew everyone's doors off. I was like nowhere to be seen near him. I'm running second, and this guy's half a track ahead. It was just situations like
Yeah.
that would just couldn't do anything about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you started full time this season, you would experience the same thing with a driver named
Oh
Vanquish.
yeah, oh yeah. My gosh, that's probably the best I've ever seen.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I can say the same for me too. Vanquish
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
usually,
that's
yeah, for a
pretty sure
lot
that's
of
the best
people.
anyone's seen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at least
I've seen a
anybody
lot of.
for our tier of driving, because you
Oh,
can
he's not
go.
even in the same tier.
No, he is at somewhere else.
I,
He's a
I,
couple
I
tiers
don't even know.
above.
See, I feel pretty decent at this. Like, I feel like I'm getting the most out of everything I can do. And this guy just comes out and he's gone 15 seconds
Yeah.
ahead. I'm like, I don't know what else I can do better. I'm doing everything I can do. I, I guess he's just that good. I mean, it's honestly
Oh yeah.
impressive. I don't know how you can be that good.
I think it's just a matter of we see things differently because we're trying to react. Even though it's a video game, we're trying to act or react like it's a real car. We're trying to
Yeah.
be like, these are aspects that will work in a real car, and we know that they'll work in a real car because we've seen the real guys IRL do this. We've seen the cup drivers do this. We've seen Xfinity guys do stuff like that. And maybe even in the trucks, like the different handling mechanics. A lot of people with dirt track backgrounds, they use a little bit of what they might know in dirt tracking and they try to apply it to a video game. And I think that's the separation. Vanquish, he has no racing background at all. So for him, it's all video game based. So he's trying to
Doesn't
learn
have-
more the mechanics. He's trying to learn more of the mechanics of the actual game and sort of like the coding that Codemasters puts into place. Not Codemasters, Turn 10. I was thinking of Formula One games. that the coding that kind of Turn 10 builds Forza on, because he was I think he was an alpha tester for Forza 7.
Really?
Yeah, no, like Turn 10 invited him and a bunch of guys to test Forza 7 before it came out. And he's told me
Wow,
this
I
story.
didn't know that.
Yeah, he's told me this story that Vanquish, he was one of the people invited to early test the game in the early stages. And he said his opinions on the game, but I feel like it's just that such early knowledge of the game that that's how he's able to really push everything to the limits, because he knows the limit and he knows the way how everything works. So I mean, that does give him a certain advantage, but also he needed to get to that point to receive an invite from Turn 10. So
At
At
that
what
same
point?
time,
At what
though,
point? At what point do you get an invite by the maker of the game to be like, "Hey, come test our new game"? Like, what point is that? Because I think I'm pretty far from that one.
my only guess is probably the rivals boards, and also what organizations are you a part of, because there are recognized leagues by Turn 10. For example, Tora, they just had a Tora event not too long ago in the actual game, in this game. So I'm sure that if you race for Tora and you're racing at the top of the top in something like Tora, then you can get recognized real easily by the game devs. Racing in the regular lobbies, by luck, you might have a Turn 10 ambassador in there, because there's still some of them who go in and race in this game.
But two.
That, and then the only last thing I can think of, but it doesn't make sense because it's not in Forza 7 or Forza 6, if I remember, overall leaderboards. Is there an overall leaderboard in Forza 6? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I know overall leaderboards were in earlier Forza games. They had an overall leaderboard. To be honest, they need to bring that back. They need to bring an overall leaderboard back, because that keeps a lot of fast drivers in the game for a longer period of time, because they want to get to the top. Here, like I said, I think it's just racing leagues keeping the game relevant for right now.
Yeah, I think keeping it relevant, like, big thing of it is, I mean, those NASCAR games are just, God, those things have been
That
awful
helps.
since 2016.
Yeah,
Like, this is where
that
we all
helps.
escaped to because of how bad those games are.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
think about it, Forza 6, they came out with that NASCAR expansion
Mhm.
right after, no, maybe a little bit before Heat Evolution came out. That was a pretty hyped game. Came out terrible. And every Heat game just followed the same after that. I mean, that's my opinion, but I don't
Oh
think we've
yeah,
seen
the
a
Heat
good one
games-
I
since
think that
2015.
I think overall that's a popular opinion though. The NASCAR Heat games,
Yeah.
they haven't been. They have been bad, but then 21 Ignition came out, and we're like, okay, Heat's not the worst that we can get.
Hey, look,
That was
there's a
another
new
one I had
low.
high hopes for.
I
I
feel
mean,
like
It's
I
I
feel
think
just
the
like that
problem.
game. I feel like that game just had really high marketing. It had so much hype. It had
yeah.
so much like when they were saying like, "Look, we scanned Coda," and so like some tracks are going to be actually scanned, and the cars are going to look. They're not going to look like toy cars on a track. They're actually going to look like the real car on the track. And that was
Except
my big
feel like
thing
a toy
with
car on a
everything.
track.
Big
Well,
the big thing I thought was cool with it was whenever they were announcing like hyping it all up, like, oh yeah, the tracks that actually have the 750 they have it, and the ones that have 550 will actually have it. I'm like, wow, these guys are putting some detail into this. This is pretty cool. Then I get the game, and am I right in saying there was like no force feedback or anything?
I
I think there was like no
think
vibration. I mean,
so.
that's what I mean, vibration in the controllers and
Yeah,
like no
and
multiplayer lobbies, like private lobbies. I'm like, really, this is stupid.
oh yeah,
I
there
played it
was
for like 5 minutes and I never touched it again.
there were no private lobbies. There was no. It didn't have support for a lot of wheels. Like it only had support for one type of wheel.
It really?
Yeah, at launch, I think it only had
Oh my
support for the.
gosh.
I think it only had support for the G920 when it first came out. And then
Yeah.
eventually they started adding more wheels. They started adding Fanatec wheels. They eventually added the Xbox wheels by Thrustmaster. So, like, there was really a lot missing from the start of that game. And, yeah,
Wow.
no simple things like a rear view mirror. There wasn't
Yeah.
any. There was no tire wear indicators. There's no fuel indicators. And initially motorsport games was saying that like look we don't have these because we want to make it more realistic, and then it's like iRacing has this stuff, and that's the most real that you can get before touching a car theoretically, because it's still technically a simulator at some points. Though I don't feel like iRacing is all that accurate as people say, but that's just me.
I don't think so either, especially from people I've talked to that know what they're doing.
Hmm.
I say it's kind of good for like a visual sense of what you're going to see because they do a good job with that, but it's not completely accurate.
Hmm.
The thing I hear a lot of is, say, kind of screws them up a little bit because can't really feel the feeling of the car like a real car would. I mean, you're only feeling it in the steering wheel,
Yeah.
so
Well,
kind of different too.
you don't have a $20,000 racing rig? If you took a car, gutted it
Yeah.
out, put a computer in it?
No,
Yeah.
what I
You
got
didn't
is
do that?
literally a. I literally have like a Walmart dinner tray with my wheel hooked up to it with the shifter.
Bro,
And
that
my
was
wheel
my
is
first
offset
setup.
to the left, and I just have my pedals under that,
That's
and just a
exactly
little
what I
stand
did
with
for
the
the
TV. I
longest
mean,
time.
I'd like a rig like that, but I mean, truthfully, it's not going to make it any faster.
Me,
I
what
think
I
it's cool though to have.
oh yeah, definitely.
But
No, me, I use this like three-tier nightstand. I just remove the middle tier, so then I have room for my legs to put the pedals on the bottom. That's what I use. It's very unstable once I turn. So if I spin out, you might hear me jerk the wheel a lot because the table that it's sitting on is not that stable without that middle tier.
I remember whenever I first got this wheel, I think it was around the start of Forza 7. All I had was like a little Rubbermaid thing where you just store stuff in with the lid. I had my wheel on that. So I'd only run it at Daytona because my wheel, like my pedals are closer to me than my wheel was. So I'd literally scoot the chair like out to get going. And then once I got to fourth gear, I'd just scoot the chair back in. I couldn't run it anywhere else because I'd have to be on and off the gas constantly at Homestead or Indy. So I just had a really screwed up setup like that for a while. So this is like a pretty big upgrade for me.
Yeah, well,
Mine was basically the same setup, my first one, and then I
It was
like
bad.
this year upgraded it.
Yeah, I've had this for a few years, but I'm good with it. It works.
See, y'all were playing with force feedback. I didn't have any of
Yeah. Oh, you
that.
probably had like the little Ferrari rubber band wheel, didn't you?
Nope.
Oh,
Hori Racing.
I don't know
Oh,
what
even
that
worse.
is.
Oh, even
Yeah.
worse.
There's
Oh,
worse than the rubber band wheel?
yes. There is worse than
That
the
was my first
Ferrari.
wheel.
There's worse than the Ferrari
Oh my
wheel.
god. I didn't even know that was possible.
Well, no, because you see, the Ferrari wheel you can get anywhere. Like, you can go to Walmart,
Yeah.
Target, GameStop, and you can still buy that wheel. That wheel that AK's talking about, the Hori, that is something that is harder to find, and it's crappier. Like, it's not widely available like the Ferrari wheel is. So the Ferrari wheel is like the worst of the commercial made racing wheels that you can just buy whenever. The Hori wheel, it's actually worse.
I didn't even know it existed. It's pretty bad.
I had one.
Me, I just have the Thrustmaster Xbox Forza wheel, whatever you want to call it. and
Yeah.
I'm and
I
I'm
have the
and I'm perfectly fine with it. I don't need a G920 yet.
yeah, that's what I have. They came out with that new like G923 that looks pretty cool. But I mean my wheel still works. I don't feel like buying another one. If I did, I'd want what D Dog has. He has that Fanatec wheel, but that just looks expensive.
You said Fanatec. Yes, expensive. Fanatec is expensive.
Yeah. It looks cool. I mean I've played on one
Oh,
before,
I'm
obviously
sure.
not mine,
I'm
but
sure it looks cool.
it doesn't make your bank account look cool afterwards, I'm sure.
No, it doesn't. No. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, if you're gonna get, I say there was a teacher of mine when I was in high school. It was a construction course. It was like a little introduction to construction, and he was talking about like if you're gonna get into it, might as well buy something that's good out of it. So for like construction,
Yeah.
if you're actually gonna get into construction, then okay, go ahead, buy DeWalt, buy the top of the line. Don't buy something that's cheap and it's gonna break within 2 weeks of you buying it or whatever. So if you're gonna get into iRacing, then go ahead, buy a Fanatec because you're getting into it. It's actually going to be considered an investment for you rather than you spoiling yourself. Me, I knew when I wanted a racing wheel, I wasn't going to get into iRacing, and I wasn't going to really use the wheel a lot anyway. So I'm like, let me just go for a middle ground option, something that's not crap,
Yeah.
not a Ferrari wheel, but let me get something that is still reliable. So, yeah, Fanatec, perfectly worth it if you're going to get into that. So
Yeah.
that's my view on it. I don't know if you guys would have different views on
No,
it.
you're probably right. I mean, I even have iRacing, but I have no. I don't want to get a Fanatec wheel. I mean, I would, but I don't feel like dropping that much money. That's a lot of money for a wheel,
Oh, that
especially
is.
whenever I'm only kind of playing it casually. I'm only playing a few times a week.
You have a favorite car in iRacing that you would like to drive, or?
Personally, I just like the Xfinity cars. I like the trucks too, but I like the Xfinity cars more. The Xfinity car and the ARCA car. I think those two drive very similar. I really don't like racing the new Cup car. Not a fan of that.
Well, that's kind of ironic that you said your favorite car was the Xfinity car. But
I just think it drives nice. Like I
okay,
think the
okay.
ARCA car drives very similar, but
But yet
the ARCA car,
the
whenever you go to
racing is so different in both series of
yeah,
Arca and Xfinity.
yeah, they have the old Gen 4 style ARCA car with a lot more horsepower though. Uh, so
Okay,
really
so.
once
Hmm.
and the reason I like the Xfinity car more is because you're in like yeah you're in B class there, so you're racing against better people. And ARCA, you're literally racing with people that just started 2 days ago.
Hmm.
Cars are cool. Competition is not. Which I guess isn't totally true because whenever you get a higher I rating, you get to race against better people. But I still feel like the racing quality is better in Xfinity.
Is that why you work for a team? In the
No,
Xfinity Series. No, but yeah,
no,
so something that we have mentioned a lot throughout broadcast is that you work for an Xfinity Series team. You have been very open about that. I keep forgetting, what's the name of the exact team? Because I know it's not a big one. It's
no. DGM Racing, like
DG
a
DGM.
mid-tier Xfinity team, I'd say.
So like a top 20 is a good day for you guys, or like
Let's see
what would be a good day for you
at
guys? Top whatever.
at an oval, a good day would be top 15 to 20.
Top 15 to
Sometimes we
20.
could
Okay.
sneak in there a little bit better. Like Richmond finished 11th. That was a big day for us.
Hmm.
But our road course stuff, I mean, we're running top 10 a lot of the times. Didn't really happen. Coda didn't go the way we wanted to this year, but I mean, last year, uh, we had Ross in first and Alex in fifth with stuff we built out of our shop. Heaton, Collig, uh, Gibbs, all of them. That was a big day for us. It didn't end the way we hoped. We got wrecked by Landon Castle in the end. Alex had a parts failure, but that day it showed that we know what we can we know what we're capable of on the road courses. So whenever we go to the road courses, that's like our bread and butter. Uh,
Nice.
those are like our tracks.
Nice. And what has been so how long have you been working in the Xfinity series in general? And excuse me. Excuse me. Oh, wow. Um and like have you worked for this team your entire Xfinity series? Like how long you've been working in NASCAR in general?
Yep, full time.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah, how long ago have you been working?
that's 3 seasons ago now. God, it doesn't feel that long.
Doesn't feel that way,
Yeah,
but it is that way.
no, it doesn't.
Right, so okay, so about three seasons ago. So like
Yep,
almost 4 years ish, somewhere in that ballpark.
yeah,
All
yep.
right. And what has the experience for you been like? Being like in like the NASCAR garage areas, being on pit road, like what's that perspective of the sport?
It's honestly a lot different than what I imagined it would be. I didn't really know what I was getting into. I just like anyone else. I mean, cool experience growing up watching racing, like I'm sure all of us in XRS and pretty
Hmm.
much anyone else that watches racing has been. Uh, it's a pretty cool perspective for a little while. Then it just becomes normal. You are basically just building cars and traveling and going to tracks with your friends and all that. You just meet a lot of new people and pretty cool experience, but then it just starts to become normal. Definitely grateful for the experience, but it's pretty good.
And a lot of people from outside the sport of I would say motorsport in general, but like let's say outside of NASCAR, they really view NASCAR as an individual sport because everybody looks at the drivers, they look at all that. But I'm sure from your perspective, you can vouch that it's really a team effort at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, for sure. You have to have your people to pit the car, people to build the car, set up the car. Uh really every little aspect from like working on pit boxes, driving the hauler, making lunch for the crew, going to get lunch,
Hmm.
cleaning fire suits. I mean, it's literally down to the smallest thing. Uh, there's a lot more to it than what people see on Sundays or Saturdays or whatever day.
Hmm.
Uh, there's just a lot more to it than what people think there is, myself included. Whenever I came into it, I didn't realize how much work it was. Especially being at a small team. In my first year, we had like 6 people running 3 cars out of one shop every single week. It was a lot of work, but I mean, we ran pretty good that first year. We're knocking on top 10, and anywhere from 10th to 15th was a normal week for us. Uh, it's definitely definitely a team sport, though. I mean, there's just so much stuff that goes into it that people that aren't in it wouldn't even think about.
Yeah, and I'm sure even for people who are already into the sport that just watch it weekly, there's sure something new to every aspect that could go through on how much, like what you said, like the smallest of details that actually go into it week in, week out. So definitely would be something that I'm sure has been a very good life experience for you. And is there anything like on your bucket list in terms of like working in NASCAR? Like, would you want to work for a Cup team one day? Or are you comfortable where you at? Like, is there any like thing on your bucket list working inside of NASCAR?
Not specifically working for Cup. I'm just kind of, what's the right way to word this? I don't really have like any aspirations of going anywhere different at the moment or going full time in Cup. I'm just kind of good where I'm at for now.
Hmm.
Not really in a plan to just go anywhere else, but definitely love to get a win with this team. That would be pretty special. Uh,
Oh, now you want
Especially for how many.
you want TV time?
Uh,
No, okay.
no, no, I've gotten some of that, but
Yeah, I've seen you post about it in Discord, just like two
Oh yeah,
second
he
clips of seeing
has.
you on
yeah,
screen.
Oh yeah, he has. He's
it's
like,
pretty cool
"There's me."
sometimes.
It's me.
It's
Look at
it's
that.
pretty cool
Look,
sometimes.
ma, I'm on camera.
Yeah, I get sent pictures whenever I'm on TV all the time by like 20 different people. Uh, but no, just really wanted to get, I don't know, just kind of grow within this team and hopefully start running better every week. Learning a lot more and try to apply myself in better ways. Pretty much the goal. Have small steps for now, but
Yeah.
hoping eventually can get really good.
Yeah, and of course, for anybody that watches the Xfinity series, we can see your progress on track, see how you're running throughout the day. And do you guys, being more in the aspect of the team, would you guys pay attention to more of whatever your end result was for the day, or just how you ran that day?
So typically, the end result's always a good thing, right?
Yeah.
But uh, basically, you kind of pay attention to where you're running throughout the day. Like, yeah, to finish well, it's nice, but you kind of need to pay attention where your car is.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, if you're running 25th or 30th, car's handling like crap, and I don't know, 20 people wreck and you finish 10th. Yeah, it's great, finish 10th, but overall, that's not a good day. I mean, whenever you go to
Hmm.
these tracks again, you need to figure out what you need to do different. It's just, it's nice, but you need to be realistic about where you're at, basically,
Yeah, I was about
and
to
see where
give.
you can improve.
I was about to give that analogy, like when you go to a place like Daytona, Talladega, or even Atlanta now, with the way that the new reconfiguration is, with the way that these tracks are, like you said, like maybe your driver avoids the big one or whatever, and you end up getting a good finish out of it. Like looking at that, then in comparison to, let's say you're at a different style of track, let's say you're at a short track, you're at an intermediate, or like you said, a road course, is a good bread and butter for you guys. That you ran well, but then ultimately at the end, like you had an issue, maybe you had a tire blow up or something that cost you to make an extra pit stop. You fall all the way back. Like, what do you think? What do you think is a better day overall for you guys? To where you were running meh, and then you have a good finish, but then you knew you really didn't deserve to be up there in terms of your raw speed, or something like I said the first time. You were running well, and then something happens that not necessarily ruins your day, just sets you back an extra step.
Kind of like a double-edged sword kind of question, actually, because like I think whenever you say that, I think of Ross Dakota last year,
Hmm.
and it taught me a good lesson that day. I was getting excited, like, holy crap, we're going to win this race. And it was all taken away within 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. We ran that good, but man, I wish we could have finished that off. Then,
Yeah, and that's the ultimate combination that you ultimately want. You want to run good, and then when you can finally see like a checkered flag at the end of the day, that really just tops the cake because you already ran well that day.
Yeah. I like the days where we run well and finish well. Um,
I think everybody likes that. If you run well
Usually,
and finish
Yeah.
usually
well.
that's what everyone likes.
yeah. Yeah.
Damn it. Top 10, started 10th. God damn it.
Yeah.
Great job, AK.
Wanted
I'm
to be
showing
20th today.
So, AK,
Yep.
you don't need to share us your goals out loud, okay? Because you do that very well.
Okay. Hey, bro, a 20th with how long it's been since I've played Forza, that'd be like great.
Out of 22 cars, that would be great.
Yeah. Bro, I'm gonna be lucky if I'm on the lead lap
Oh,
by the
come
end of the
on. You're
race I
not that
took to
bad.
go. I guess with these cars, if it was still the NASCARs, I'd probably be horrible. I might be that 22nd car that's in the way of everyone else.
I don't think you were ever that bad.
Yeah, I just haven't played Forza in like raced Forza in like a year and a half.
I'm like,
Or
play Forza,
something like that.
what do you do every broadcast? Technically. I mean, we're in the
I mean, I
game.
guess yeah, we're in it, but I just kind of watch it.
Yeah. It's so amazing the different perspectives of how you can see one thing. Because in the real sport, there's so many things. There's what you see on TV, there's how you can be at the track, there's Jankum, your perspective of being on a team of some of the cars on track or one car on track wherever you're assigned to. And there's a driver's perspective. There's so many different aspects. And same thing applies for the video game, because you can be a spectator from the broadcast. You can be a spectator
that's
up
me.
in the booth. No, that's you in the booth.
Oh, that one.
AK.
You said
You-
spectator, commentator, like you said that with the spectator part, okay? Then you said
that there's you actually driving. And I would say the final aspect is you're not there at all, but you hear about it. You can hear about it on whether you're on social media or you see everything happening in the Discord after every race. Jacob, I'm sure you need to silence sometimes your phone.
No, I always have Discord silence.
Oh, there you go.
Every channel.
perma
I just go
silence.
check it whenever I feel like it.
Oh,
Yep.
race is done. Wonder if my chat's blowing up. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I normally look in there for the fights.
Hey, that's part
Yeah, I
of
normally
it.
watch a lot of the races if I'm able to.
Yeah, that's arguing and stuff like that. That's part of it. Like, there's nothing that you can really do. Only when it gets too far, that's when you can step in. But if it's just people like little bickering here and there, but they're not really like, you don't feel like there's a sense of yelling at each other and stuff like that. Then okay,
You put me into the wall. No, you put me into the wall.
So not the DBM shift war of 2020.
Oh no, not that. Definitely not that.
Oh my god, that was an interesting time.
I think that was the worst fight in the history of this league. Definitely,
bad.
that was the worst fight. Because imagine two drivers just completely not liking each other, going back and forth for weeks on end, accusing both sides of cheating, and then just multiply that by like 5. Because it was that concept, but two teams fighting with each other.
Yeah.
It was.
See, none of us hated each other. We
didn't hate each other. We
disagreed
just
for a while.
Yeah, we
Like,
just
we were all friends, but we all disagreed extremely for weeks on end.
we just didn't like what was going on track. Like what we felt was going on track, we didn't like about each other. For that aspect, but like you said, like at the end of the day, like okay, if me, you, Cart, Exiv were in the party doing something else that wasn't league racing, we're not going to feel bitter in there.
Yeah, that was an interesting time.
That was definitely
I was
interesting.
definitely excited whenever Cart got that championship, though, over all the DBM cars. I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
I remember.
I, f- I kind of feel like every year something big happens. There's one like key moment that happens every year,
What Jenkum
or like
said.
every season.
What Jenkum said.
That was
2020.
big.
It was DBM versus
Yeah.
Shift Motorsports. That's what that was.
Or what you guys called it, GT shift.
Was was the mini season 2021 or was that 2022?
That
That was
was
2022.
2022. Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
the one I
early
did like.
2022, right? I think the biggest thing to come out of that was only recently discovered.
I think I did
Yeah.
like
What you said.
6
I think.
races that season.
Yeah, what I said.
And either way, I don't think that was. It's not a big deal because we didn't even figure out about it until a season later. But
Wait, what happened?
so AK, if you didn't watch that podcast episode, AK said that pretty much there was like an 11 plus car alliance in the league. So there
I
was,
sort of orchestrated this giant ass alliance.
yeah, there was a
It's not even an
huge,
alliance anymore. It's just a league.
yeah, there was just this huge alliance within the league, and nobody knew about it because the drivers ranged from Smokey to Oracle being in the same
What?
alliance.
Yeah,
How does that even work?
I don't know.
it
but
was.
It
Oh
was.
my god.
It was tuning. It was pitch strategy. It was helping with draft. There was no targeting involved. There was never targeting. I can say that 100% for sure. But it was just like the basic information. If people couldn't tune, then you had a tune that you knew was at least half decent and was going to be semi-competitive. You had a roughly knowledge of when people were going to pit, when you
I
needed to
feel like the
pit.
alliance was just everybody outside of Shift Motorsports and ARR. I think that was the alliance.
That would probably sum it up a little bit.
I think it was everybody outside of Shift and
Oh my
ARR.
Well, obviously I couldn't bring the co-owners into it because then it would be broken up. Potentially. Well, actually no, because I got the okay from technically I got the okay from partner culture. I can't remember who it was. But I was like,
Man, so
I sort of like poked the bear. I was like, so if an alliance were to happen between team, would that be allowed? Or something along those lines.
Yeah, between
Something along those
between
lines.
a team, not four. But
Hey, I said I poked the bear a little bit, not poke the bear all the way.
exactly.
man, you guys were worried about one extra car, and AK's over here rallying 11 cars.
Yeah.
What in the world?
Hey, no one was targeted. It didn't really affect anything because by the halfway
Oh,
mark,
it
anyone
really-
who wasn't in the playoffs kind of left.
Yeah, it
So-
really, yeah, it really didn't matter because especially in that season, a Shift driver still won the championship.
Yeah. Hey, we had Oracle and off road in the playoffs. I'll take that.
Out of the 11 cars, you had 2 in the playoffs.
I think
Good job.
I think we had a couple. I think we had a couple more, but those are the two that made it the farthest.
Oh,
My God.
that was the season I was disappointed I couldn't race anymore. I got to like 6 races and had like an average finish of 3rd, and I couldn't race anymore. I think that season was only like 12 races long, right?
It was 10 races.
Yeah, I remember being
No,
pretty disappointed by that.
no, I remember that season. You definitely could have won your first championship there. You definitely could have won your first championship that season. Because that season, there wasn't
Yeah.
actually a playoff system. That season,
Yeah.
the mini season was just 10 races straight to the end. So,
Yep.
with no playoffs involved, your consistent finishes would have definitely, you could have secured the championship by race 8 if you had raced the entire thing.
Yeah, never done a full-time season. Ever.
Bro, same.
Done
I've
a
gotten
good bit in
close.
2020, but I joined so late.
Okay,
I
culture,
had no
we're
chance
off
at
by a
playoffs.
year. Okay, culture in the chat goes wrong. Mini season
Oh
was
my
2021. Okay, 2021, sure.
It couldn't have been 2021. I didn't have internet. Maybe it was the end of 20. No, couldn't have been.
Culture, we,
Had to be
we already
2022.
said.
I don't know.
Culture, we already said the alliance was 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, no, the alliance lasted for maybe 7 races, and then it was just kind of like everyone either had stopped racing or they weren't in the points contention. It was well set up, but
It's
it
just
didn't
The
last
the
long.
thing is about
it seems too big.
alliances. The thing is about alliances. You can't even regulate them. There's no
No,
way. Like, what are you gonna say? You can't tell your friend like this is what we're doing. Like, you can't, because that's more likely the reason. It's not you're helping another team. It's no, you're just sharing with your buddy or whatever. Like, the fuel window's like 23 laps, something like that. So it's like you can't regulate it. What you can
To me,
regulate is the actions done by said alliance. If there were
yeah,
targeting involved, then that would be okay. You guys need to cut that out. But and since there wasn't really that, that's technically perfectly fine under the rules what you
yeah,
guys were doing.
perfectly legal.
it just seems so big that you're gonna have alliances within the alliance.
There was definitely alliances in the alliance, but I
Definitely.
mean,
Wow.
I know some of the tactics my team did because I was the owner of the team at the time, Redline Racing. Was we would so Tython was a part of my team, Oracle was a part of my team, me, and then there was somebody else. I can't remember who, but we'd all give times that were a couple tenths lower than what they actually were to everywhere. Like it wouldn't just be like XRS. So it would be the alliance itself would be a couple tenths off, unless it was like sort of a mediocre lap. Then we would just give the regular time. But like there were times where Tython would be like a second quicker than most people, and we would just be like, yeah, he's only like half a second quicker than everyone. But yeah, we would pretty much share any
I feel like you
information.
couldn't do that with if let's say this alliance continued like with Vanquish. You couldn't do that. You couldn't
No,
be
oh no, God no. Everyone's times would be on the dot, like
because
to
then
the
yeah,
to
because
the
then
thousandth second.
Vanquish is actually 3 seconds faster than the rest of the field.
Yeah.
Vanquish just like a couple tenths up on the pace.
Yeah, but this was sort of when like Tython was sort of the Vanquish because he was fast during that mini season and
Tython.
nobody
Well,
really
here's the
expected
thing.
it.
Well, here's the thing. Tython, we know Tython is fast on road courses, and we know Tython is quick in general. I mean, for one of the races, Tython was actually faster than Vanquish last
Yeah,
season. So
Really?
Tython, no, Tython
Where was that
legitimately.
at?
I think it was at the Miami road course.
Really?
I think it was there, and part of the Indy GP race. Part of that
Oh,
race, like towards the end of the Indy GP race, Tython was actually catching Vanquish, and Vanquish was
oh,
actually pushing it. He wasn't like backing off or anything. And then in the Miami road course race, for like the first half, Tython was completely faster, and Vanquish actually needed to work for the win. So we know Tython is a really incredibly fast driver, but he tends to only show up
yeah. He's
for
not a
road
full-time
courses.
driver.
He tends to
Yeah,
show up only for road courses, and now he can't even race at all because his console broke. So
yeah,
oh,
yeah, he is not expected to return in any way, shape, or form until like July or August. Like,
yeah.
wow.
and even then,
But
everything he's already registered to where he's not going to race this season at all because by the time he would be back, there would be like 2 weeks left in this season. So
yeah, at that point, it'd just be racing for fun.
yeah, so and he doesn't want to do that. So he's listed as a team owner just so then he has some sort of involvement with this league still. And then next season we could expect Tython to return. So
Yeah, but sort of when that alliance went was sort of that when Oracle, Tython, and like the Red Line Racing all sort of went as well. I think technically, if you want to be technical, find the team. Which team? The closest team to Redline, what Redline Racing was, is probably Gold Rush Racing.
because I think Goosey was our fourth driver.
Mm-hmm.
So it was me, Tython, Oracle, and Goosey. But now Gold Rush Racing is owned by Tython, and Oracle and Goosey race. And then there's just Raisin there. I guess that's kind of like the predecessor to Redline Racing.
I don't know who asked for that, but good to know.
I'm just saying. What makes the puzzle?
Anyway. So, Jenkin, we're more on the wrapping up closing minutes here, and let's talk more like XRS stuff for this current season. One, how many starts do you think you could make this season?
Oof.
Because I know you're
2.
starting this weekend at Sonoma, right? You're going to be...
Planning on it. Something might come up, but I'm not 100% sure.
Mm-hmm.
I've been practicing this week. I don't know if I'll actually get to race.
I've seen you in the Discord running some laps. You
Yeah.
were running a little bit on the tune of the car, and you actually
Yeah,
had some
trying to learn.
positive thoughts on the car.
I know that's pretty new, isn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty rare for you.
Yeah, as long as it has power, I'm good. And weight.
Well, we can't control the weight in the Cougars like we
Yeah, I
can the
know.
Cup cars. So
Yeah.
the weight is you get what you get because we can't control it.
Yep.
Yeah, so and only Indy, I know that tune you won't like because that's the handicap tune. But
Oh boy. Sure, I
but,
probably won't be here for that.
yeah. But Homestead, Daytona, every road course, that's all power. There is no.
Yep.
I think
Power.
Indy is the only track that will have a power handicap. So all other tracks you have full power and you just drive the car. So there's that. And have you watched any of the races this season? Like the broadcasts for Daytona or Indy?
I haven't been able to watch the full thing, but I've seen some clips on the Instagram. Looked at that a little bit.
Okay. Because if you had watched any of the broadcasts, then I would have done a follow up of based off of what you've seen, then what can you expect for this season? But I don't think you've seen enough to give a well detailed answer to at least. So I would just say overall, in your opinion, do you think the Mercs should be a permanent series for XRS? Not something that
Personally,
we
I
do
haven't really-
over and over, but just something that we bring back.
Personally, I haven't really seen much. Haven't seen much or really driven them much to say. But from driving them at Sonoma, I like them. I feel like I wouldn't say they're harder or any easier than the Cup cars, but I feel like they're different. They're similar in a way, but having to kind of learn how to drive them, they're different than what I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely fun. I think it's a driver's car, at least at Sonoma. I can only talk for there. It's definitely a lot of fun. I think if it races good and people like it, yeah, it should stay a permanent series.
Yeah. Overall, we do plan on keeping these cars as a permanent series, and we hope they are in the new game. As we do not know the full car list, because like they said, like it's gonna be 500 cars or whatever in the new game, and
Yeah.
the car list that's out right now only has about 80 something cars on it, and we're like, this isn't the full list.
Yeah, come on,
We're
hurry up.
missing about 400 and a bit cars.
Yeah, we're missing 400 and a little. We need to know the full list. So hopefully when we get it, either a more detailed car list, or if we need to wait until a new trailer, or whatever it may be, or till the actual game comes out. Because we do plan on making that switch to the new game. Maybe not right away. Maybe we'll do one more season on Forza 7, and then we'll see what we got on Forza 8. Because who knows, Forza 8 might be glitchy, and we might need to wait for them to do like a early patch to the game, or whatever it may be. So then
Might be the next ignition.
we're
That's a
hoping
scary
it's not.
thought.
We're hoping it's not because
That's a
turn 10
scary thought.
it's turn 10. They should be a little better than
Yeah.
The game itself should be better because it's going to be aspects of Forza, and Forza has overall been better than the NASCAR games. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
things that we're hoping
They
for
actually improve on their games.
here. No, I felt
Not
like
do the reverse.
I felt like they took a step back though from Forza Motorsport 6 to 7. I think 6 was a little bit better than 7.
Well, at least it's not like the Heat series where nothing at all has changed through 5 iterations.
The
If,
NASCAR Heat
uh,
series was Madden. The NASCAR Heat
Eh,
series was Madden. There's a big difference between Heat
Yeah.
Evolution and Heat 5, but there's not that much of a difference between Heat 4 to Heat 5.
yeah, I just looked at the schedule for the race I'm be able to do next. Do you want to take a guess at what track I'm going to be doing?
Oh, it's Indy, isn't it?
It is.
Yes!
It's okay. I'll suck it up.
Indianapolis!
I'll suck
You
it up
heard
and
it.
just drive it. You know,
You
Mark
suck it
the
up and
it's
calendar.
still
drive it.
fun to. It's still fun to drive. I mean, I don't get to do much of it, so I'm going to take every chance I can get. But I'm not going to lie and say I didn't wish it was a different track.
Mark the calendars. Indy.
I can't.
Wait,
I can't believe
wait,
that.
race 7 or the championship
Yeah,
race?
race 7.
Okay,
Race
race
seven.
7.
Mark it. Race 7 throwback weekend.
Yes, it was just announced today.
Is it?
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. It was just announced today in the XRS Discord that Race 7 in Indianapolis is going to be an official throwback weekend. So, yeah, so a lot of people
That was
already won throwbacks on their cars naturally in the Cougars, but that race we want everybody to be in a throwback, and if for already your throwbacks, try to make it extra special. Like maybe do your favorite driver's final ride paint scheme or whatever it may be. So
Wish y'all would have told me that sooner, because then I would have just copied my paint scheme over.
So it's not my favorite driver. I like Jimmy Johnson more.
Yeah.
Jimmy
Who's your
Johnson,
favorite driver
boom,
throwback?
confetti.
Okay then.
I'm already.
By the way, did anyone hear me say hold the O, not knowing if I was able to say this or not?
Say that or not?
Yeah, you're like throw. Yeah, it is throwback weekend.
I was like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm already committed. Whatever.
Oh, and I know every bit of these podcast episodes, there's supposed to be one behind the scenes look behind every episode, and I would say the one last thing that could be a little behind the scenes, not confirmed for those watching, not confirmed, but we are thinking about doing an event for 4th of July. We're looking into, because we already have that weekend as an off weekend for the Cougars, so it would be an exhibition event. We don't know exactly the style of event yet. Some of the things mentioned can be back a race back in the Cup cars. Other things mentioned could be an all-star type event. And so we don't know yet what we're going to do, but there probably will be an event race 4th of July weekend for XRS. So that is something that we're looking into right now. There. That's the behind the scenes for this episode. But with that, I would say that can more wrap up what we're doing. And I hate this Forza Vista thing that keeps resetting on the screen. I really don't like this. But hey, it's the best we got. So, Jenkum, thank you for joining us tonight. Good luck to you and your Xfinity guys for the rest of this season. Who knows? Maybe you guys, that win is closer than you guys might think. So, and we'll can't wait to see you next time you're involved in XRS, and we'll see you in and out.
Oh, thanks,
Thanks.
TwitchBot.
The TwitchBot just posted.
Yep.
An hour late. Yay! But
Hey, it's over.
either way. AK, thank you for being here. I know you have been exhausted, but thank you for muscling up and being able to do an episode here tonight. And
Yeah,
I
it's always
believe,
fun to do.
yeah, and I believe this weekend you will not be there, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
no, I will not be at the first road course race.
Yeah, so you won't be at Sonoma in the booth with me. So hopefully we can find someone else so then I'm not necessarily by myself. Last season we had a few drivers get the opportunity to be up in the booth. I know MVP was there, Rocket was there at one point, Sunday, Sunday Q&K, he was with me in the booth one race. So should be fun trying to get someone. SSR Mayhem, he might join me, so we'll see. We'll see who will join me in the booth, but for sure, I will see all of you guys for Sonoma Round 3 of the Mercury Cup Series for XRS. Jankum, thank you once again. AK, thank you to you. And that will wrap up this episode.